I don't know if this is really debatable, but I think this muscle has one of the best names in all of anatomy. It's called the Obturator Externus. I want you to say this with me because it's just fun to say. Obturator. Obturator. Obturator Externus. Right? The obturator means to obstruct, to close, to block, or something along those lines. And this is not the only structure that has that name in it. Right? Like, for example, this hole right here is called the obturator foramen. And we're going to see inside of there is something called the obturator membrane. And then this muscle, the obturator externus, which we can see right here, has a companion, a mirrored muscle, if you will, called the obturator internus, which is, to no surprise, on the internal part of the body, right? If you actually try to orient yourself here real quick, but this is the posterior view of the sacrum, and you can see like the os coxa, but like this is the pelvic bowl. This is inside. This is the inside of your body. There is a muscle that looks exactly like this one, just on the other side of it, called the obturator internus. And the reason why this one is called externus is because it's on the outside of your body, technically. My point here is, it's just a cool name, obturator. I like it. It's fun to say. It's hard to say, but it's fun to say. And this muscle has that name, obturator externus. But there's more to this muscle than just that. And our goal with today's video is to use this free Kenhub article. This is 100% free. 100% free. Like, you don't have to pay anything to read this article. It's amazing. We're going to use this article to learn about it. We put a link down in the description below. Encourage you to follow along with me. In fact, we'll actually start right here. You can follow along. It's going to make for a great experience, and I think you'll get the best out of this video. But regardless, let's go ahead and learn what we need to learn about the obturator externus. And so I mentioned earlier that we're going to be able to see the obturator membrane, and that's exactly what this thing is right here. This is the obturator membrane. So a membrane in anatomy is basically just a sheet of connective tissue. Now, there are other things that travel through this obturator foramen. Remember, foramen means hole or tunnel. And so like there's going to be vessels that are going to travel through there, but you have this just connective tissue that is going to block it off. This is the obturator membrane. This is pretty much the origin of this name, obturator. And then what we see is there's just two muscles on either side. The obturator externus actually belongs to a muscle group called the deep hip rotators, which is going to be a really important clue as to the function of the obturator externus. And so this is part of the origin of the obturator externus. It's going to be originating, coming out of the obturator membrane. But it's also going to be originating here on what is called the inferior pubic ramus. So the os coxa, which is this gigantic bone right here, right? So like all of this, actually get that text out of the way, go put it right here. That works. So this is going to be the os coxa. This is your hip bone. It's actually formed by three bones fusing together. You have what's called the ilium, which is the upper portion here that I'm kind of surrounding. You have the ischium, which is back here, which I'm kind of surrounding. And then you have the pubis, which I'm surrounding. The word ramus means branch. And so this right here is a branch of the pubic bone, and it's the inferior branch. So we call this the inferior pubic ramus. And then up here would be the superior pubic ramus. My point is, what's going to happen is the obturator externus is going to originate on this inferior pubic ramus. I mean, technically, it's kind of going around the entire rim of that obturator foramen, but it's more going to strongly anchor itself to this inferior pubic ramus as well as that obturator membrane. It even can come over here sometimes and get into like the anterior surface of that pubic bone, but still, we're going to just say the inferior pubic ramus. And then we can also see that it's going to somewhat come onto what's called the ischial ramus. So remember, I told you there are three bones that form the os coxa. Well, the ischium is this posterior portion, and there is a branch of the ischium that we call the ischial ramus. And sure enough, obturator externus is going to partially originate on there. So those are going to be the origins of it. Now, what is the insertion? So again, we're looking at a posterior view here, and this is the femur, right? So we can see the hip bone. So the hip joint. You can see the head of the femur right here, and then this is what we call the neck of the femur, right? Then we have these gigantic bumps. This one is called the lesser trochanter of the femur, and then we have the greater trochanter of the femur. Now, the reason why that's going to be important is because you can see that we're kind of like nestled into this little area here, right? This is what's called the trochanteric fossa of the femur. A fossa literally, that fossa literally translates to ditch. So, like, this is kind of like just this little groove that's nestled in on the other side of the greater trochanter. This is the trochanteric fossa. Now, you'll see some texts will just kind of like simplify it and say, it still is inserting at the greater trochanter, which it kind of is. It's kind of like plugging into the other side of it. But the more precise way to say this would be the trochanteric fossa of the femur. Now, so that means it is still traveling, again, posterior to the hip joint. And that is going to be essential to understand its function. But what I want to do is, before we look at some animations of the actual functions of Obturator Externus, I do want to briefly go over its innervation. And this is not going to surprise you, because the nerve that goes to the Obturator Externus is the obturator nerve. Love it. I love it when that works. It's great. It doesn't work that way all the time, but when it does, it is really nice. And you can see that highlighted here in green for us. So what you're looking at here is actually what's called the lumbosacral plexus. All these branches of nerves coming out of here are all going to be part of a huge braided network of nerves, but we can see that all these spinal divisions are converging to form what we call the obturator nerve, and that is going to supply that obturator externus. So I promised you we're going to see some animations, so we're going to scroll to the top. Now, while this article is free, we do include some premium features in it, and these videos are one of those. So I'm going to go ahead and full screen this, but I just want you to know these videos are incredible. And what we've put in a lot of these is going to be these animations that can show you these muscles working in action. So to give you just some quick orientation so you know what you're looking at, this is a posterior view. You can tell because you can see the lumbar spinous processes, you can see into the sacrum, and then you can see the back of the hip. Like, just kind of a dead giveaway is usually going to be these spinous processes that you can see on the vertebral column. So then you can also see some white. If you look really closely, you can see psoas major back there. Technically, that's the anterior side because this is a posterior view. But you can also see part of gluteus maximus that's going to be transparent, gluteus medius, and then you can see the rest of the deep hip rotators that I mentioned. But of course, we're focused more so on this muscle. This is the obturator externus. Now, if you're looking closely, we can see part of the muscle belly here. Then what's happening is there's part of the bone is here. This is that ischial tuberosity. This is part of the ischium, so it's not actually going posterior to that, it's going anterior to it. But then remember, it's coming from that inferior pubic ramus, the ischial ramus, and that obturator membrane, and it's going and inserting on that trochanteric fossa on the other side of the greater trochanter. So it's kind of like passing in front of, from our view, this ischial tuberosity. Okay, so with that, we can now learn its function. So what we're going to see here is that the obturator externus is going to be part of the deep hip rotators, and it's going to perform what's called external or lateral rotation of the hip. So this is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like, I always envision it. Like, let's say you're driving and then you're just kind of like rotating your foot. In reality, you're not really rotating your foot as much. Like, you are, but if you really pay attention next time you're moving from the brake to the gas, you're actually rotating a significant amount of your hip. The foot's just along for the ride. It's actually easier to do that in a lot of instances. So it's kind of like you're just like outwardly rotating. It's kind of like you're going like, what is that? Is that pigeon-toed? Is that all right? Or is that pigeon-toed? I don't even know what they're called, but you know what I mean? Like the feet are pointed out like this. It's kind of creating a V. That would be a laterally or externally rotated hip. Again, the feet are just along for the ride. So I want to go ahead and watch that again. So I'm going to just rewind that a little bit again. And what I want you to watch is this greater trochanter here. You're going to see it rotate backwardly, and that is going to be that indication that we are indeed seeing external rotation of the hip. So you can see that arrow just kind of going, and you can see it's going towards that midline. But it's also going to do another action, and it's called abduction of a flexed hip. Abduction of a flexed hip. And I'm going to rewind this so we can see this again, but I want you to, it's kind of like you're chicken winging it. Right? So first you have to flex the hip, and then you're going to abduct it after that. It's kind of like a dog urinating, lifting its leg to urinate. So let's go ahead and rewind that so we can kind of see, get a better understanding of what's happening here. So again, it's kind of difficult to see from this view, but it's the leg is kind of tilted at this outward angle. So again, think like a chicken wing. You're flexing and like this, but that is going to be happening at the hip. Now, there's also, you could say that helps stabilize the hip. That is definitely going to be true, just kind of anchoring everything down. But these are going to be the two primary functions of the Obturator Externus. But I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something really fun and exciting about the Obturator Externus. If you did, please leave us a like. Little things like that actually go a really long way in the all-powerful YouTube algorithm, so we would very much appreciate it. And also, while you're down there, be sure to leave us a comment. Let us know what videos you'd like us to discuss in the future. We are always looking for feedback, and we'd love to hear what you have to say. But thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time.